What's up, gang? Welcome back to DizDad TV. On today's episode, we're back on another reaction video and checking out Season 2, Episode 2 of Loki. If you want some more reaction for Episode 1, watch along any other Marvel or Star Wars content, or the occasional theme park Imagineering video, you can find it all on the homepage of the channel, and links in the description below as well. Appreciate you guys checking that out. Episode 1 of this second season, very good episode. Enjoyed it from beginning to end. If you caught my reaction for it, just loved everything about it and how they kind of picked up from season 1 and the events, Sylvie killing Who Remains and the fallout from that. We got a taste of it anyway in that first episode. TVA in a total mess. No surprise there. Loki kind of a mess himself with the whole time slipping he was dealing with, which is kind of wild to watch that play out on screen. But again, it was just great to see Loki and Mobius back together, interacting. Tom Hiddleston, Owen Wilson. For me, and I mentioned in the last reaction video, they really carried season 1 and that first episode. I mean, there's some good parts about the series in general, but the two of them, far and away the best parts of this series, which it should be. He's a title character, and Loki in particular. But it was just great to see the two of them back and living out those two roles and everything they brought to it. Just love to see that on screen. The smaller parts, it was kind of nice too. The other characters are at the TVA that I mentioned as well, specifically B-15 and Casey in particular, we had from season 1, and to see them come back, get a little more involved in the story, at least in that first episode. Hopefully that will continue. I'd love to see more parts involved in this story, so it was nice to see them. We had a new character, OB, which I thought was a fantastic role and character. It was a really great scene when we first meet OB. Really kind of, I guess, the middle part of that episode as Loki's still going through all the time slipping, and we see OB and Mobius and Loki. It was like a 7-8 minute scene as we go back and forth between past and present, and all of them interacting. It was just really well done. Really kind of a simple scene and setup, but the way it was done, it was just perfect. I loved it. I hope we're going to see more of OB, which I would imagine we're going to in this season as well. Obviously, Sylvie still kind of the top of the wanted list for the TVA, which is not a surprise. Probably also for Loki as well. Definitely wants to find her. We saw her briefly, I guess, the very tail end of episode 1, coming out of the elevator, as Loki's getting pruned, which we got to figure that out as well. A lot to figure out with this season of Loki, but lots of unanswered questions. What happens next? Again, I said time is in a total mess. That temporal loom that we saw there for a good chunk of the end part of the episode, they've got to get that figured out. Figured all these branches of time everywhere. Obviously, they've got to find Sylvie. We know He Who Remains is going to pop back up in this series again at some point. I would expect today's episode, probably to pick up with the Loki hunt for Sylvie, for lack of a better term. We saw that it was like a 8 to 10 person crew of hunters go off in search of her as well. So that's probably going to be a big part of our story, I would expect. And I guess kind of trying to figure out how they solve this whole time crisis. And, we've got timelines moving and growing all over the place and branching in every direction as a result from season 1. And how does that all get fixed, or does it get fixed? And do we find Sylvie? And does she want to be found? Which I don't think she does, but really looking forward to checking out this episode. So all that being said, let's just go ahead and check out episode 2, season 2 of Loki. All right, where are we at? London,
Sylvie's not here.
1977. So back in time. I don't know, did anybody else watch Quantum Leap, like the original Quantum Leap? Whenever they come through those doorways like that, I don't know why I flashed back to that show, but just immediately go back to that. Where are we at? It's a crowd.
Not responding. Where's our only lead?
Zaniac. It's a heck of a poster there. Oh, is that X5? What's he doing? He's hamming it up. That's what he's doing. Digging the music.
He's an actor now, or he's undercover. Looks pretty real to me.
It does look pretty real.
I don't know how I feel, but I know I look pretty darn good. Come on, look at this. Pretty darn good.
What is he doing?
In the vault, you. Will there be a Zaniac 2? A sequel for the fans?
Mobius! Whoa!
Nice to see you haven't forgotten about the little people.
Nervous excitement there.
Afterwards, all right?
Let's catch up now, baby.
Where are you going so fast?
We could all use a drink, right? What are you drinking?
Surprise me.
Okay. How about you?
Oh, I'm fine.
All right.
Oh, Loki not drinking.
Is he running now? He is running.
He's running. We're gonna get a good chase here.
It's Brad Wolfe. Can I get your autograph?
Anything for... Hey! Oh!
Oh, B-15. Nice.
You're gonna ruin my life here!
Your life here?
Ooh, nice shot from Loki. Apparently X5 has got himself set up pretty nicely with a acting gig here.
You still glad we're here?
If not, he's not anymore, is he? This is good. Perfect music. Love the shot down the alley. Into the line.
Did you really think you could outrun me? Yeah.
Oh, what did he do? Oh, the phasing thing from season 1. Loki's mad now. Apparently they are not fans of Zaniac.
Back up! Oh, you're the tough guy, huh?
X5 not messing around. Oh, is that Loki?
Unsophisticated X5.
Oh, of course.
It's not a fair fight.
Gotta love Loki. Oh, look at the shadows. That's great. Loki pulling out some tricks today.
I thought it was spot on.
This is great. That was good. And again, we saw first season they worked together a little bit, but now they really are more true partners in this sense. So I love seeing them. What's TVA is time cops essentially, but I like seeing the two of them working together like this.
These it's tighter than you think it's going to be, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'll get you a looser one.
Yeah, it is tighter.
Have OB check it out.
Going back to COB. Good deal. I like that perspective shot there.
But I'm trying to figure out a retrofit device to handle all those new branches.
Got it covered.
Yeah, just that simple.
Do you think this is a higher priority than preventing a temporal meltdown?
Oh, no.
No, I don't think so.
Everything you need to know about this, I wrote about it in here.
Of course, the guidebook. The good old guidebook.
Renslayer killed C20, attempted to kill Mobius, threw me in time jail, and tried to take over the TVA. Why would tracking her temp pad be a secret?
Yeah, I don't think it's a secret, is it?
Match with the system.
Is that with the red light? Because we tried that already.
We'll try it again. Because I don't think you had that pressed back, did you?
Two guys trying to read an instruction manual.
Miss Minutes is helping Renslayer.
What? That explains the radio.
It's kind of big news.
I heard something, an old conversation between Renslayer and He Who Remains.
Yeah, the recording we heard there in the war room.
How are things going here?
Not that great. It's all right.
Not so good.
That's not what it does.
Sure.
Casey to the rescue.
Haven't you read the TVA guidebook?
I mean, memorize.
Didn't you read the guidebook?
Let's take a run at Brad Wolfe.
Let's take a big run at him.
Thank you.
Oh, this should be fun.
Okay, most of all, Brad's an asshole. So don't let him understand.
Hey, what were you doing down there on the sacred timeline?
Making movies.
Don't waste our time, X5.
He was.
It blocks your trackers.
No, it doesn't.
What is it designed for, X5?
It's Brad.
It's Brad.
There are lives at stake.
There are lives at stake.
Oh, you have got some nerve. You're just trying to make up for all the terrible, awful shit you've done in your life, you pathetic little man.
Ooh, watch it, Brad.
It's riveting. Keep going, I want to hear more.
At the end of the day, you just make everything worse.
Wow.
Be 15. For your mother.
Ooh. That's gonna get a reaction.
You're a loser.
Loki.
Stop.
Deep breath. Deep breath.
You're a villain. You're good at it.
That he is.
You know, you're right. I have done some terrible, awful things. Yeah, maybe that is who I am. It's the real me, a loser.
Oh, he's enjoying this.
Perhaps I've just been waiting for a moment like this.
Brad's getting nervous.
Where is Sylvie?
You're way too obsessed with her.
That's quite a response.
Control your little pet, Mobius.
Wow.
I got a little tense.
Got a little tense.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Brad.
Brad who?
That's showbiz.
What?
Mobius, you could be an actor.
I'm not an actor, I'm an analyst, but thank you.
You're not an analyst.
He's an analyst.
Mobius isn't even your real name.
Well, it's what I answer to.
I mean, do you care? I mean, you know they took us. You know they took our lives.
Oh, Loki knows what he's doing.
Kind of weird, man. I mean, you need to wake up.
I'm awake.
Yeah, no, you're asleep.
He's getting a reaction now.
She's nothing. I don't even know where to start with that, but you're nothing here.
A nowhere man. You're a
That got a reaction for sure. Brad was just pushing and pushing and pushing.
Seems like he got under your skin.
Nope, he didn't get under my skin. He got under your skin.
Yeah, he did.
I was following you.
No, I was following you.
Are you guys lost?
How about a slice of pie?
Slice of pie. Oh, a pie room. It's all pies. Is it all key lime pie? Yeah, it looks like it is.
You know, sometimes the rage builds up and you just gotta let it out. You remember that time I was so angry with my father and my brother? I went down to Earth and I held the whole of New York City hostage with an alien army. Tried to use the Mind Stone on Tony Stark. It didn't work, so I threw him off the building.
He's so nonchalant about that.
Sometimes our emotions get the better of us.
You can say that again.
Wasn't there a scene? Was it the very first episode of season 1? Was it were they eating pie then too? I don't think it was the same room. I feel like there was a different background. But there was a scene, very first second episode when they met and they were having a similar conversation. But it was like Owen or Mobius was helping Loki, kind of role reversal here.
What if it's something good? Do you think I want to have that rattling around in here? Of course not.
Sure.
We're going to find out who he was at some point. Oh, I love that room.
Because he wants to continue to live his best life on the timeline.
He wants more time to be Brad Wolfe.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, he definitely wants to say Brad Wolfe.
Just gotta make him talk.
Well, come on, you're the god of mischief, right?
That he is. Time is still a mess. That doesn't look good. Brad just chilling.
Hello, Loki. Ready for round 2.
Dude is cocky. Love the upside down vertical shot like that. Oh, did he run into the doorway? It's got Brad's interest. What is that?
I'm gonna be attending this session.
It's like a
Coming here without B15.
popcorn machine with a vacuum cleaner. I don't know what the heck that is.
Kind of ramp Mobius controller. Right. Okay, we can't start the festivities without that little baby.
Oh. Little good cop, bad cop here.
One other option.
No! Hey!
This is part of it, right?
That thing does not work without the controller, though, so...
He's got it, doesn't he? Yes.
Okay, great. We're gonna have a little Q&A. I'm not trying to be a hero, Brad. I'm a villain. Remember?
No, Loki?
Words coming back to bite you, Brad.
Earlier, I said some really hurtful things, and I brought...
I can't walk it back now. Whoa. Did it just shrink it?
Could hurt yourself there.
Hey, don't just...
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, there is a learning curve. You know, you could kill me with that. Could I?
Oh, man. We're getting to see so many facets of Loki in this episode. I love this.
Let me try this.
Whoa. I shrank it.
Only made it smaller.
Now look.
Yeah, thank you, Captain Obvious.
I've done some terrible, awful things.
Yeah, you have. You're doing one right now.
You're doing one right now.
What's the penalty for a highly decorated field officer abandoning his mission?
Not good. Oh gosh. How small is that gonna get? Uh-oh, Brad. Little tiny box.
She has a new life.
Yeah, she was in was it Oklahoma?
She's on a branch.
Oh, the door is unlocked the whole time.
I'm gonna die. Oh, hey, nice to meet you.
Great first way to meet. We're all gonna die.
Try the C12 bypass pathway.
That won't work.
Are you sure?
Of course. I wrote it.
I gotta look.
You're Ouroboros?
Yes.
You wrote the TVA guidebook. Practically memorized.
He's fanboying.
Mine for me?
Of course I will.
You sign it.
You just said we were all gonna die.
Oh, right.
That he did.
Whatever we're doing, we gotta do it fast.
Yeah, good luck with that. 40 billion served. Even in 1982.
Hey, can you refill the straw dispenser when you get a sec?
Already done it.
Employee of the month.
I'm not going anywhere if I get some apple pie.
No.
I wonder if the milkshake machine works. If you've ever been to McDonald's, you know what I'm talking about.
Listen, I haven't got all day. Are you gonna order something? Or what?
Can we talk?
Is Loki not gonna order a Big Mac?
But there's been a problem. It's complicated.
Problem's kind of understating it.
I was in the future, and I saw you.
Or at least a version of her, right?
I have no intention of going back there.
But you did, or at least future you did.
Sounds a lot like the future's already been written. And we both know that it hasn't, not anymore. I made sure of that.
Yeah. She did make sure of that.
I thought you were setting us up for an ambush. Hell, you were just setting us up for a great meal.
Mobius, get his apple pie.
They say opposites attract. No.
What is this?
He's right.
Just enjoy this. Tell me about Zaniac.
What about it?
I want to know about it.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, tell us about it.
It's not scary. It's elevated thriller, all right? It's cinema.
Elevated thriller.
Let's just get it to go when we get up.
He wants out of there.
What's going on?
Nothing.
Not very convincing.
Want to get off his chest. Zaniac's getting a sequel, and you're both invited. Hey!
Zaniac 2. Nice.
Orange shirt, she's gonna die. Most importantly, we are all gonna die.
Making a little bit of a scene.
All this for Sylvie?
I don't buy it.
What was all that?
Targets are popping up all over the branches.
We need to know where this attack is coming from.
What are they doing?
Docs wasn't looking for Sylvie. She's gonna prune all the new branches.
She already is.
Oh, man.
What are they doing with all the time doors?
Looks like they're connected to the TemPads.
Mobius, they're killing billions. Take Docs down now.
Our mission is compromised. Set up what you can.
She's just taking out as many as she can, didn't she?
Finish it.
Don't overthink it.
Nice. Is he gonna leave her behind? Oh, she followed him in. Whew, this is a somber scene. Wow. And that was full of branches moments ago. It's a heavy ending to the episode.
I got a hit on Renslayer's temp pad.
It's kind of interesting timing.
The TVA is the problem. It's broken. It's rotten.
Just got a point.
I'm going home. If it's still there.
Please don't.
Yeah, is her branch still going to be there? So interesting watching him react like this, not being able to help, and the frustration he's feeling, the emotion he's feeling right now.
Do you think he'll be in tomorrow, though?
Yeah.
Or at least so you think, right? What's she holding? Oh, is that it? Oh, man. It's a good song. Heavy ending, though, as I said. Wow. A lot to unpack there, for sure. That was a pretty good episode. Just first things first. Not a great episode, I don't think. It was really good. I think it had a tough act to follow. Episode 1, I really enjoyed episode 1, so it kind of was a step below that one, which is kind of tough to say. But episode 1 was so good, so I feel like I don't want to denigrate this one too much, because there was a lot of good stuff in this episode. I thought it's a nice 1-2 opening episodes of the season. Obviously, the bulk of the episode, it was, finding X5, interrogating X5, and a lot of that back and forth. And I feel like a broken record with this. I'm probably going to be this way, I assume, the rest of the season. But, season 1, the first episode, just the character portrayals, so good. And this episode, obviously Loki and Mobius, I kind of talk about them, but X5, Brad Wolfe, he was fantastic. Absolutely, I don't know that I would have guessed that. Being introduced to him in the last episode. I didn't foresee this kind of character coming out of him. I don't know who the actor is. I feel like I should know who it is, but he was great. He just, and the way he did things throughout the episode, when we first meet him, he's turned himself to an actor. Was it like 1977, film premiere, which was great. And speaking of film, I feel like Zaniac, Hawkeye, we had Rogers the musical. I feel like Zaniac, we're going to have to get some kind of Easter egg, maybe not a full show or a movie, but maybe, somehow we got to get at least a snippet of a Zaniac film or Zaniac 2 that Brad promised there at McDonald's. But he was great this episode. They first bring him to the TVA. Dude is cocky. And kind of watching him, they have, B-15, Loki, and Mobius all in that room together. And he takes shots at all of them. B-15 not quite as much, but he goes hard into Loki. And watching Loki kind of take it in, and I was waiting for him to burst. You could see he was holding it back. And Brad was taking some low blows, like, some great lines there. Hey, you're a villain. You're good at it. And then he talked about his mom and just so many things, and just really pointed things, because you think Loki's a complex character. And I mean, a lot of what Brad said was true. I mean, it's hard not to think it's, thinking that is Loki doing this just to make up for past deeds. And it's kind of an interesting, I'll talk about Loki in a second, because I don't want to jump around too much, because I'm bad about that with the show. But Brad, he's there. He even pushes Mobius's buttons, which we'll kind of get into Mobius a bit as well, but, and kind of getting him to react. And then when they come back and just the whole change, and he's finding out what he said, coming back to bite him, and the whole change in his persona. And he's like, oh crap. And you could just see like that confidence was clearly gone. And he was, and even when they got to the McDonald's there at the end, and the nervousness, and he was agitated, and just, I thought he was fantastic this episode. Big kudos to Brad Wolfe, aka X5, and that actor. I thought he was fantastic this episode. I really enjoyed his work. Mobius, he's again, Owen Wilson, kind of interesting guy. But it was, and I know at some point we joked about, the jet ski, we're going to see that. But Brad really brought out, Mobius was pretty stone cold at first. He's like, I'm an analyst, even making some corny jokes, the showbiz joke. And he didn't really want to take, the bite. Brad was trying to egg him on, and hey, don't you want to know what you were before? And eventually he got through. I definitely feel like at some point we're going to see Mobius, in the past, where he got pulled out of the timeline. We've seen it with, B-15 briefly, and Renslayer too as well, I think, if I remember right. But it's got to be something we're going to see at some point, is the original version of Mobius, maybe on a jet ski. That would make too much sense. Loki in this episode, again, Tom Hiddleston, great. I definitely feel, which I always feel this way, but he just seems like he's enjoying this role a lot. And I think for good reason. It's interesting. I don't know that I ever would have imagined that Loki would be, maybe I should have, because Loki's, even in the comics, Loki's a pretty unique character, but just kind of seeing all these facets of Loki we've gotten over, 15 years now? And just watching, the various incarnations and versions and transformations, and obviously come back to life several times. But just, again, this episode, we saw so many sides of Loki, even if part of it was an act. We're getting to see kind of good guy Loki, mischievous Loki, even a little bit of a bad guy Loki in some sense. Getting to watch him to hold back his emotions, playing, good cop, bad cop with Mobius there. Just all of that was super fascinating to watch. And it's just really interesting with Loki, because I still had to keep reminding myself that this Loki was the one who came out after Avengers. So this Loki didn't experience everything. I guess he saw it, there was episode 2 or 3 of last season on the screen, but he didn't actually experience everything post Avengers that his other version of Loki would have. So especially like Ragnarok. So it's interesting watching this Loki. And I don't even think he's at the same place that other version of Loki was, post Ragnarok. Similar places, mindsets and ideals, but got there completely different ways. And I think he's got a lot different perspective coming from where he is now to where that Loki was Ragnar. It's just kind of an interesting dichotomy, I guess, kind of seeing how those Lokis have changed, and this one especially, to get to this point. And I even seen there at the very tail end of the episode, just some of the emotion he's got knowing that he couldn't stop what happened as they pruned all those timelines. And obviously some remorse there, which again, just kind of an interesting range of emotions and thoughts, for that character. But again, he was great, played perfectly by him this episode. Thoroughly enjoyed that. There was a great scene, a simple scene, him and Mobius there. I got into it a little bit while it was playing, but it's the pie room. I love the rooms in the TVA. This room just full of, I guess it was all key lime pie. It was like 1,000 key lime pie slots everywhere. And I don't think that was the same room from the first season. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll have to just go back and watch. I feel like it was a different room. It's like the first or second episode of the first season. And I'm pretty sure they were eating pie, or they were eating some kind of dessert. And it seemed like a very similar conversation. Again, I'll have to go back and watch that episode just to kind of refresh myself. But it's interesting because this is post, the first interview and interrogation with Brad. So Mobius is a little worked up, and it's just kind of interesting, again, talking about Loki and his transformation and just kind of watching him be the one to help Mobius at this point. Because you think back when they first met, and it was Mobius like, hey, and Loki at this point, this is right out of Avengers. So dude is like as mischievous as I can get. And it was super funny. It's not funny, but the line he threw out in this episode, it's like, hey, I brought an alien army to Earth and, tried to wipe them out and threw Tony Stark off a roof. It was just said it so calmly, just the way he threw that out there. But that's one of his last memories is coming from that, before the TVA, like immediately before that. So it's, again, super interesting to kind of watch him trying to help Mobius work through emotions he doesn't want to talk about, finding his past or previous self before the TVA. So yeah, I think we're definitely working for that. But I thought that scene was interesting, kind of juxtaposed to season 1 and how that worked out. Again, I don't think it's the same room, but a very similar setup, how that was done. So I really like that. OB and Casey together, match made in heaven. That was so great. Obviously, the TVA guidebook has been popped out a couple times. I feel like if it's not at Disneyland, they've got the Avengers campus out there. I feel like it's got to be out there at some point, if it's not already. It seems like a great little thing. And the holidays coming up, so I'm sure Disney is working on a TVA handbook. And of course, Casey would be the one that memorized it. A little bit of a fanboy there, asking OB to sign it. That was a good little comedic moment. I hope we see more of the two of them working together, because that would be a nice little tag team to watch work things out. So again, that was all a great part of the episode. I really enjoyed that. And then kind of the latter part of the episode, a lot happens. We go through all this interrogation. We find Sylvie, there at the McDonald's, 40 billion served. And then all of a sudden, all these timelines started getting bombed and pruned, by Docs and her team. And that was very quick. I kind of wish that played out longer. I don't know if it would just make this episode a longer episode, or if they could have carried it over into the next episode with some kind of cliffhanger. But it just seemed, and again, they teased it a little bit. Brad was, while they were at the TVA, he was okay. Obviously nervous about Loki shrinking him in that little box. But there at the McDonald's, he was agitated and nervous, and you could tell he did not want to be there. So they kind of teased it for a few moments, while Mobius has his apple pie. But the whole sequence, of bombing the timelines and then them stopping it probably wasn't more than 4 or 5 minutes, if that. It would have been nice if they played that out a little bit longer. And I don't, story-wise, I don't know how they would have done that, whether it was longer fight sequence or Mobius and Loki and Sylvie, jumping through some of those portals to, stop a couple of the bombings or trying to find where it was at. I don't know. I guess I would have liked some way to kind of extend that sequence a little more, because it just felt like a lot, and then it was kind of over. Again, it was a very heavy moment. I was it B-15 talking about billions dying. I don't know how many timelines they pruned, but it was a lot. I just would have been nice to kind of see that play out a little more. Possibly, at least I don't think a full episode of that, but just it would have been nice to kind of play that out longer into the next episode if they could have worked that out somehow. It just seemed like a lot to kind of throw at us after we've had kind of a chill episode, tracking down Sylvie, and then all of a sudden it's like, oof, billions are dying. And it played out pretty well. I understand it's probably necessary for the story because there's a lot of storylines they've still got out there. Renslayer and Miss Minutes, which she got teased there right at the very tail end. It does make some sense now, though, because I think Casey had mentioned earlier in the episode all the timelines. It was almost impossible to track her, like needle in a haystack, I think he said. So with all these timelines gone, the one she was on makes it that much easier to find her. So that kind of makes some sense. Obviously, He Who Remains is still out there. We've got the temporal loom that still needs fixed. It's in a total mess, and we need Miss Minutes to help us do that. So I thought there's probably a couple other things out there. We got to get Brad back for Zaniac too. Oh man, Zaniac, that's great. Was it Elevated Thriller? Is that what he called it? So I kind of understand, when you've got that many storylines, especially some big ones like that, why you would kind of blitz through it. And obviously you can't have all these timelines. We knew, and especially with this whole multiverse saga, they're going to have to kind of figure some of this out. So that was kind of a way, I guess, of pruning, some of the timelines. It just was kind of rushed, for me. But I understand sometimes you got to do that. And we'll see episode 3, where they pick up and what's the fallout from all this. So I'm really kind of curious to see picking that up. But it was a good episode. It's been a wild, exciting, I won't say fun, because this was not really a fun episode at the end, but it's been a very interesting, unique, lots of twists and turns to this point. So I am enjoying the series, the second season, these first 2 episodes, and looking forward definitely to continuing on with episode 3. But as always, I appreciate you guys joining us for reaction. It is greatly appreciated. Until next time, I will see you for episode 3 in Loki.